Divas, it's Wanda from Wanda's Workbasket. I want to show you something that I've been working on. Now, some of you might be curious as to what an art journal is. And it can be so many different things. It's up to your imagination to decide what it is and what it isn't. But I made this going through some discernment as to who I am in ministry and just who I am, who God has made me to be, and a direction to go in. So I want to show you this, and it's just my own creation. This, and that's the rubber band, but an elastic. This just was came with some stationery in it, and I decided to use it because I liked the way the cover felt, to cover over it, to keep it nice and neat as I'm going through it. So let me show you. Now, I did this on 9 by 12 pieces of hot press watercolor paper. That is, or mixed media paper. You can use whatever paper you want. But I started out thinking that I was taking some time off from ministry to go through this journey, and it says my pilgrimage begins, and I was setting out on a journey. So every once in a while I put little pieces of map in the corner, and this was a passion, and it take time to wander or wonder, and then being my name is Wanda, so that kind of goes in with it. And the date I started was October 2020, and it's about, it says I am creative, spiritual, a creative spiritual companion, and other words on it. And it's just me embarking on a journey. And then what I did was I worked on the back of each side, and I'll show you the pictures one at a time from there. I started this, like, this is kind of like a heart or a cave, you know, where Jesus rests in my heart, and maps in the background, and I was kind of like off on my own on the side, like God opens a window. When a door closes somewhere, God might open a window somewhere else. And pilgrimage, not knowing where you're going at first, but it's a symbol of the path. And this part of it is, now these are like just collage items that I've cut out of magazines over the years. There's no real artistic talent in it other than trying to make a cohesive picture of it. I call this remembering. So I'm remembering who I am, who God made me to be, but I'm also remembering, reorganizing, re-putting back together who God has me to be. And she looks like she's on a journey, and it's a bridge. This journey also can be a bridge, and it can also be, it's got art involved in that. So these are women looking at art. So the next page, you flip, is kind of like two different views of who I am. You have the Rodin thinker in clay, and I put think within because I'm an introvert. But a lot of what I have to do is extroverted. It's the creative side. It's dancing it out, dancing life out. So even though you're thinking the two different parts of your personality, for me is like I'm a thinker, a deep thinker, and I have things internally, but then I like to dance them out. I like to find creative ways of living them out in daily life. This one is the power that is at once, it's a quote, how do we live with the power that is at once within us and yet enfolds us in something greater than ourselves? So you know, she's a woman that's holding the world. To me, this was one of my scraped paint backgrounds, just using 3 colors and scraping the paint and using stamps and things like that, and a piece of art here. This was from a pastel. I did it one time. The women are holding the earth, so some of it is like you're giving yourself to the world, and she looks kind of pregnant with the world there, and she's just holding her world together. No Girl Left Behind is a slogan that when I was doing Girl Scouts and working with the YWCA, things like that, it just seems like no girl left behind, even though that may be a political hot-button way of saying things, nobody left behind, at least with the education system in America. That's not what I mean by that. It just means that I like to connect with other women over women's issues, and especially the young girls and the teenagers who have a hard time coming up in life, who need a strong female mentor in their life. And I like to be that for them. And this says, Trust Your Truth. This is a Kelly Ray calendar, a cover to one of her calendars, and she signed it, her cover for me when she sent it to me. I just loved it as it is. This is her artwork, not my own. Kelly Ray Roberts. I keep thinking of myself as having several different personalities within me. Not like multiple personalities, nothing like that, but different aspects of who I am. So, I did some inner child work, and I call her Angel. So the word angel is down here. And her face lights up. When I was a kid, we used to collect fireflies, and that's part of that. And she's jumping around, and she has wings like an angel, but it's the milk wings, you know, milk gets you strong. And here she's playing with a rope or a jump rope. And I used to have a pink dress that I wore one Easter, and I'd twirl, and it would just flow around. So I'm going to kind of like make this pink. I'm going to take a pink paint pen and go over some of that. Like a watercolor pen with it. And Wonders. I like to dress up and pretend to be people I'm not. And I always dreamt of who I would be as a mom, and just the dreams and my future, and being always inquisitive. And these are things I'd like to rediscover about myself. Sometimes Angel, as part of my personality, likes to have temper tantrums when she's not getting her own way, when she would rather have fun than doing anything else. She runs me off into tangents when I'm curious about something, which is okay, but she needs one of the other parts of my personality to kind of like rein her in at times. So I have to recognize and notice when that's the case. I can still love Angel for who she is as part of me, and recognize it when she's trying to take over. But give her space to play, and at the same time tell her she's got to leave space for the others to play too. Okay, so this is representative of something that happened to me in my life. It is a trauma, and it just leaves you like a deflated balloon. I had a trauma when I was a child, and it has to do with the Me Too movement, so that's there. And she has the word healing across there, and it says, Heal Me, Hands of Jesus, first aid kit. Hope starts with the girls. So now you know why I like to be a mentor to women and girls who have gone through their own trauma of being sexually assaulted. This was when I was 10 or 11. I am coming out with it. I'm in the middle of writing a couple books. One of them is about the experience and how art and things have helped heal the spots in me that the trauma has created and I still need to heal from. There's a part of the healing journey in here in this art journal as well. So, and part of it was not religion but spirituality. Jesus was as real to me as a lover, and just like to imagine myself just held in Jesus' embrace, and that's healing to me. And I like to help other women heal from trauma as well. So that's what these represent. That's a big part of me. That's when Angel first lost her voice. And this is a character I call Daphne. She's my creative side. She's my boho hippie chick. She is all colors and life, and I was into clothing design and always was a sewer, making my own clothes and knitting, and this is crochet, and journaling. I journal all the time. Hand journal. I have every journal I've written in since I was in 2nd grade. Now, guaranteed, when I was in 2nd grade, all I ever wrote was, "I hate my brother today," but, you know, that's the way it goes, and it wasn't every single day of my life either. But my journals were my best friends because I didn't really open up to anybody at that time. And from the Delusion girls, one of the coloring pages said, "I'm not the black sheep, I'm the tie-dyed sheep." And I'm like, yes, absolutely. You know, a worsted wool jacket with crinolines as a skirt, and woven baskets, and a peace sign, and artwork, going to the art museum, and just macrame, and just all these colors mixed together. So Daphne is still a big part of my life, as you can see in Wanda's Workbasket. I'm into all kinds of crafts, anything to do with handwork and the use of color. I've mentioned that a bunch of time in my videos, that color is important to me and helps you feel your feelings, and it demonstrates to the world what your feelings are if you wear them on your sleeve. So that's Daphne, but I spell her name with an I, D-A-P-H-N-I. That's who I call Daphne. And the ring that I normally wear, I don't have it on right now. The silver ring that I wear with the woman's face on it, that's Daphne. That's how I got, when I named her Daphne, that's how I named that personality. I got her when I was a teenager, so. And this is as a mom and as a Girl Scout leader. I led Girl Scouts from when my daughter was in 1st grade all the way through to 12th grade, and had same girls in the troop almost all the way up through, and helped lead the other Girl Scout leaders during that time as well. I loved it because I was giving the girls what I would have loved to have had said to me and done for me, and boosted self-confidence along the way that I would have loved to have, and people in my life did boost my self-confidence and really saw me for who I was and loved me for that. And I wanted to give it to as many people and more so as I could. And the other girl who were down on herself, who was bullied like I was and teased in high school, teased all through school like many of us were. So I wanted to be able to say, hey, you got it, girl. You got it going on, and you can make a wonderful life. And I was a church secretary, so it's got the communion cup here, and, you know, more books for the writing and reading and that kind of thing. And I was an office worker for a while. And these are flying with me. I have on these butterflies names of people who who encourage me along the way and fly with me in this journey, and help me through it as well. And I keep adding to it, so you never know. And this is my writing. It just, my emotions just spill onto the page. And I have, this was napkins, pieces of collaged pieces of napkins that I glued to the page, and then I have an ink blot and pen, and these are flowers that somebody made me from a group passing back and forth mixed media pieces. So that's that, and more of the map and circuits connecting, and this is my writer's life, connecting all sorts of things. And following my path led me to seminary as well. So I have an MDiv, a Master in Divinity, and at a Christian seminary, an accredited seminary, Lancaster Theological Seminary, and I was into spiritual practices and labyrinths and cloister walks and prayer closets and things like that. And I still, prayer and spiritual practices are still a huge part of my life, and leading retreats and helping others in art practices and as art as a spiritual practice, among many others. But I still graduated, and during that time when I was in seminary, I was still hiding behind a wall. People thought I was standoffish at times. You can see the outline of a Dionysian girl that I colored behind here, but she's behind this wall. It feels like a stone wall, and the thing is, when you put up such a high wall, yes, others can't get in to hurt you, but you aren't letting yourself out either to bless the world. One of our assignments in seminary, we had to do a semester of volunteering someplace that wasn't in a church, and I chose the YWCA. And it was the first night we had a take back the night that we planned and put on for the city of Lancaster. And it was supposed to be a candlelight vigil, walk out in the streets, but with a guest speaker and all that. We never got out in the streets with it. We just had the guest speaker, and she encouraged at the end of her speech for anybody who wanted to come up and talk about their own experience. And I was sitting on my hands. I kept saying, there's no way, I'm not going to do that. You won't find me up there. My mouth is sealed shut. And up to that point, I was afraid of speaking or praying in public. I kept telling God, no, I'm just going to be in Christian education. I am not going to pray in public like that. I am not going to speak in public. You can't get me to do sermons. Well, that day, when she was inviting people up and I was sitting on my hands, all of a sudden I found myself up at the podium speaking about my incident that happened. And all of a sudden I felt the wall, like, pow, like somebody punched through the wall, and light was like blazing in. And I felt free. I felt that the ugliest skeleton that was hiding in my closet, that I thought if people would ever see, they would never love me anymore. The shame just does all kinds of awful things to you. Anyway, just speaking there in public and seeing the love, feeling the love that was coming from everybody, because they each had their own stories to tell too. My skeleton was exposed, and I was still loved. That's when my healing really started. Since that time, I have never And I was a pastor. Been an ordained minister for 13 years now, 14 years. I was a pastor at a church for most of that time, and I never had trouble speaking or praying in public ever again. That was my miracle. That was my miracle. It's better to take a risk than miss a moment of magic. It's true. If you ever want to share your story or need somebody to listen to your story, email me at wandasworkbasket@gmail.com, and we can chat privately if you want somebody to open up to. It's up to you. It does help. So, these are more of the Delusion girls. Be you. The world will adjust. And I am perfect just the way I am. So I was learning to love who I was in all its messiness, in all of its craziness, and all of its colored variety. And the third personality that I have is Wandering Shepherdess. My name Wanda means Wandering Shepherdess. And that's who I was as a pastor, looking after the sheep. Yeah. A wandering shepherdess. It's not just my mind that wanders. That was always my joke. Pastor and preacher. That's the church. And the wine. Little shepherdess down here, little shepherdess down here. And this, I don't know. All the colors. Something wasn't complete within me yet. This is learning to rest, learning to I don't know, what does it say? Listening to the right voice. Learning to rest, listening to the right voice. So as I was writing and doing sermons and ministering, I was learning ever more deeper to listen to God's voice in my heart and what to do with all this. It still can be kind of crazy, but I just did the best I could. Did the best that I could during those times, and I had some really wonderful times as a minister. I wouldn't trade those years for anything in the world. Then we get to my sort of not a nervous breakdown actually, but it really felt like it. Right before COVID. Right before the virus that felled everyone. It was burnout. Completely burnout. And I named this my gray matter going around in circles. You know how when your thoughts are trapped, you go around in vicious circles in your mind, and you need something or someone to push you off of that track and just offer suggestions on how that you can think differently. Well, everything was going around in circles, and I was in a really dark place. A really dark place. And I knew things were changing within me, and I was burnt out. I'm not going to go into it any more than that, because I don't know that I completely understand it myself. But that's what this was all about. A friend of mine told me that, well, why don't I do a Venn diagram, a science pal of mine, and figure out who am I, there's an I in the middle, so I used the word I, a combo of spirit's gifts. So I also substitute teach for the local school district in junior high and high school classes, which I really enjoy. Most of the classes, most of the kids. But anyway, I had my creativity circle here overlapping with my victim services, helping other victims become survivors and thrivers. And this would be deep listening, my spiritual side, the deeper listening. And this would be spiritual direction, and that kind of goes in with the deeper listening. It's spiritual practices and that kind of thing. And this is land, having land and property, and a home, and writing. This is part of my writing. Where does that all overlap, and where does ministry, ordained ministry, and overlap, and where does teaching? So all those things, where do they overlap in my life, and how do they all kind of like work out into one thing? And maybe they don't work out all into one thing. Maybe I'm just too all over the map to be in one career, pigeonholed in one way or another. So anyway, that's those are those things, and these are the ones I've done of late. Still trying to work out who I am as in ministry, creatively, and I'm not so sure. All about the mixing things together. This is a Jane Davenport wrapping paper in the background, and this comes from like a daily planner type thing. I have the little card that says "She will not fail," and down here it says about opening the box, opening the secrets, opening and revealing the secrets. But you got to open the box. So I'm still opening the box, but I know I won't fail at this. I am who I am, whoever I'm made to be, and it will come out in many different ways. Deepening the journey. I'm still on the journey. It's time to get back to living more of the life you want to live. Okay. Going to the seashore and traveling. Traveling has been part of it. I love traveling. I love going to different places and meeting new people and new cultures. Just the stimulation of being new places with new people. And the other parts of it are, there's some writing. These are figures that are fertility figures, ancient fertility figures. And this is my crafty room, and angels, and so it's all kind of like mixing together in different ways. It's all still mixing together in different ways. These are more of the fertility figures. They are like the wise women. See, wisdom moves. Wisdom moves us. I shut my eyes in order to see. And I love elephants, and to me, elephants are a wisdom creature. The female African elephant, she's the matriarch. She takes care of her herd. She is strong. She remembers the path. She's a leader. She's a teacher. She's a protector. And so part of that, the wise woman, that's who I am becoming. The wise woman. A colorful elephant. Walks and talks, and that's who I am becoming. How it's all going to mix together, I don't know. But one time, while watching a Survivor episode, I like the TV show Survivor. So one time while watching a Survivor episode, the camera was panning across this little river on the other side, and the face of an elephant came out of the bushes, and we're watching the survivors across the way. And there's something about that elephant that I connected with, eye to eye, spirit to spirit. Yes, it was a TV show, and separated by months that went by. But something about, and I've always loved elephants. Elephants have been my spirit animal since since forever. So I named her Amma. She is my wise woman. She is my leader. She is who I am renewing to be, discerning what the future holds. And they call it, every religion has like a mystic sect to it. A mystic meaning totally in love with the unknowable, being okay to hear whispers and being moved by intuition and by experiences, and just being so in love with spirit that it takes over and guides your life, and spontaneous things happen, and it's just mystic. It's just mystical. What can I say? So maybe I'm a modern mystic. I don't know. I always had a reason to believe that way. And we're coming down toward the end of it again. I still substitute teach. It says, I'm excited to see what God can do in my future. And I'm 60, but I still have a future. I still have a future. This is about retreat work and spiritual direction, and being a mentor, and listening to the flow, listening to spirit, still working with my little girl that likes to dance, the angel in here, and colors, my artist. This is from a Crayola Factory postcard. Experiencing the trace of grace, and waiting for the waiting to be written in your heart. Yep, grace written in your heart. So all these things mean something to me about my journey. And I realized today is the day I write my own story. So it goes back to the first time my friend and I wrote a book together, and this was some of the paper that we used to plan out our book and how the pages were going to go together. It was an art, it's 7 weeks of art and prayer, creative prompts. At the same time, I have prayer prompts and things that you can do, exercises along the way. We still have an electronic form. We just don't have any printed ones anymore. But that's still for sale, and we used to do retreat work along those lines, and I still love to do that. It's real simple. Just do it. Write the next chapter, next great chapter in your life story, and do it now. So that's part of my writing my story. And a woman's wisdom. These are knitting needles, but they kind of look like pens to me. I hope you can see some of this. This is a gal jumping into a pool, and it's just like, sometimes you just gotta jump in. Successful people are not gifted. They just work hard and succeed on purpose. So it's my journals, and I'm succeeding. I'm enjoying life. I want joy back in my life again. And that's where this is going. And it's books. It used to be called Wonder Wanda. So there's a Wonder Woman sticker in there. Yes, to the 70s, I'm sorry. It says it's your time to shine. The first step toward achieving your goals is write them down. And a fresh start calls for a plan, and you're the boss. And it's got a passport in here, and speaking, writing and speaking. It's time to get my books finished and get them out there. It's time for me to share my journey. It's time for Amma, the wise woman, to come through and share it with others. And these are the last pages, pretty much. Story series, I have a W there. New Spirit. This is a Disillusion Girl that needs to be colored in yet. And a Bridge, Teacher, Another Home. These are part of the images I'm looking into for one of the stories I'm writing, and I'm not going to go into it any more than that, but it has to do with a home. And then it's just, the truth is not really about the stuff at all. It's about the evidence of living, the proof that I was here, thought some thoughts, lived some life. These bits are simply meant to jog the memory into remembering. And remembering is perhaps the best way to recycle. So, this is in a recycled notebook with giant rings in case I choose to add any more to it. But this is my art journal as I continue to develop as a person and continue to develop as a spiritual person, as someone who shares the spirit. So this is going to go, right now it will go up on Wanda's Workbasket, which is probably how you're seeing it at this point. I just wanted to share it with you what one version of an art journal is. I have tons of other examples of things I've done, and I might get into, showing you bits and pieces of my journals from 2nd grade on. Yeah, I'm 60. That's a whole lot of, I go through a new one every 6 months or so. So anyway, too much talk now. There's a lot more talking to come. Some whip and chats are coming. A lot of deep thinking and some personal revelations and things like that I'd like to share. If you don't like them and you're not into that, feel free to tune out. It's alright. If you need somebody to understand some of the things that you're going through in life and you felt a connection to any part of my story, feel free to email me and keep connecting. Otherwise, let's have a lot of fun on this channel and play with color and just be about what we are as creative people. Lovers of color. Lovers of putting color together in different ways and with different objects. And just enjoying our lives together. So, alright. Thank you for stopping by, Divas, and I look forward to many more times to come. Bye.